clutch discs, fork oil, brake caliper rebuild kit, 3 sets of tires, 15 parking lot falls, rear diff oil, dash cam, cramp buster throttle thing, heated gear, rain gear, which really is just for wind in New Mexico, fork seals, front fork seals, Bluetooth headset for your helmet, adventure top box, helmet, brake light, tinted visor, which Amazon, come on. You showed a tinted visor in the picture, but when I got the helmet, it was clear. Impact work gear, separate impact work gear that's ventilated for summertime, a charging port, reflective wheel tape, clutch basket holding tool, O2 sensor, pizza bag for DoorDash, and a DoorDash cup holder. And that wraps up my first year back on a motorcycle. Now, it's been like, I'd say 86 to 97 is when the last time I rode, 97. And then September 11th, 2024. I got my helmet. I got on the Roadrunner train. I rode to Rio Rancho, and the guy wanted to haggle, was ready for me to start haggling and doing all that stuff. And look, I said, look, this is, not only was I a mechanic, I used to sell cars. So I'm a laydown. So I'm not going to go through that whole thing with you. In sales business, we got a thing called a laydown where people just pay what you ask them to. I didn't care. I knew that I was winning no matter what I paid for the bike. I get paid $10,000 for the bike. I still won by buying a 48 mile a gallon motorcycle. And the guy didn't pick up on that. And that I just came alone in an Uber and with my helmet in my hand, ready to go. Here's your money. Yeah, but it has this and a top bag. Okay, here's your money. And then I was on my way. I rode for the first time from Rio Rancho back to Berlin, and I was totally not afraid for my life every second. I was completely confident and absolutely sure of everything I did and had no fears in the world after not riding on a motorcycle for 30 years. I was terrified. I was terrified of being on a motorcycle. Not in a bad way, but terrified in, it's been so long, what have I forgotten? And my biggest fear was cell phones. Like, this whole time, since 1997 to 2024, my whole main concern is, wow, how are motorcycle guys faring with cell phones? And I know from my ambulance days, that it was getting worse. And all you have to do is walk down the street and see all the cars that have rear-ended each other with that minor hood damage. They're all doing the same thing because everybody's doing this, and then boom, they hit another car at 20 miles an hour. And then the hood gets all bent up. It's the same accident over and over and over again every day. So that was my main concern on the trip home. I didn't have any gear. Only thing I had was a skateboard helmet, and that's it. I was on my way. But I gotta say, cell phones were my main concern, but over time, hold on here, what did I write down? Something else I didn't really reckon on when I decided to come back to motorcycling is I didn't know you had to deal with lifted trucks. Lifted trucks are the most problematic thing for motorcyclists on the road. Number one, because of visibility. They can't see you. You can put 11 children in front of a lifted truck, a stock F-150, and they won't see any children until the 12th kid that they kill. That's how bad the visibility is in that. Then you throw in the poor visibility of modern vehicles in general, those giant headrests that block their view, the little tiny windows, and everybody's got 5% tint because everything's got to be murdered out. There's that. So you throw in all these modern details, and then you get what it means to ride a motorcycle in 2025. And coming back, just empty-handed into this new thing. I mean, and granted, there's a curve, because where I live is a very rural town, and it's technically a poor town. It's where nobody here is a millionaire. Not many people here are millionaires. And in a poor town, I've noticed with even in Jersey, poor people have to convince the world that they're not poor, that they are in fact rich, by looking what we called hood rich. And that's what, in my area of the world, the lifted pickup truck is a problem. When you go into Albuquerque, you see a few, you see a good amount, but here it's every vehicle. It's almost literally every vehicle is a lifted pickup truck. And it's sad, really. It's really kind of sad. Ooh, pushing buttons. But be that as it may, the fact that they are within 3 inches of your back tire at any given time, that they believe, and I'm just going by what I see. So you can call it judgment. You can say I'm being judgy. You can say I'm being mean to people I don't know. You can say whatever you like. But here it is in the video that whatever you say and what you do depicts to the world an entirely different story. I don't smile enough. So everybody thinks I'm in a bad mood all the time. I'm not. In my head, I'm not thinking I'm not in a bad mood at all, but I don't smile. So people think I'm always in a bad mood. Is it true? No, it's not true. I'm not in a bad mood. I'm rarely in a bad mood. But that's the face that I put out to the world. And if the face that you put out to the world is I'm going to be an inch off of your back tire at all times, I'm going to drive this 12,000 pound lump of steel like it's a 12,000 pound Ferrari, then that's just what everybody sees. And what I see is a problem, is kind of a big problem. God love them. I mean, I love a good lifted truck. It is handsome to look at. I like the spiky lug nut things. I love those. And the lifted work trucks, love those to death. But that's a problem. And I know, I don't know these people, and stop being judgy and all that stuff. But the face that you put out to the world is what everybody sees and reacts to. And the face that lifted truck drivers put out to the world is even more so the aggressive driving that everybody else distributes. The hard braking to red lights. No one brakes until they get within a foot of a red light anymore. No one stops for stop signs. No one does the speed limit, which technically is what makes me a dangerous driver, because I do the speed limit. I'm not in any rush. I used to live in New York. There's a reason to be in a rush. And I left New York so I don't have to be in a rush anymore. Let me open this window. At the same time, the fact that they put forward the attitude of, I'm driving a big truck, get out of my way. They let the rap songs and the videos and the TikToks go to their head, and they forget that they're human beings. And they do stuff that they wouldn't do in a line at Walmart. If you wouldn't stand this close to me in line at Walmart, don't get that close to me in traffic. Because you should never assume that I'm going to give you the fear response that you're used to. Despite being on a 600-pound motorcycle, despite being far outweighed by you, I will not give anyone the fear response in any situation that they're looking for. Whether you're the district manager of a local grocery store, whether you own whatever, I'm going to call you by your first name, Rick. I'm going to call you by your first name, and I'm going to treat you like I treat everybody else, with respect, dignity that I would give to another human being. And when you automatically start out being disrespectful and not respecting me as a human being, you lose points. In my book, sorry, it's just the way it goes. You're going to lose points in my book. So the bully thing that you think, that the bully bumper sticker and all that attitude that you feel like, so forth and so on, you feel human and alive when you're blasting your country music in your truck. Great. I got no problem with that. My problem is you also have to consider, you know what? You're driving a 12,000 pound death machine. And someone with macular degeneration in their Buick is not going to see you. So, and anyone in any car anywhere in America has unreal blind spots nowadays that you can hide a 12,000 pound Ferrari in. By the way, a Ferrari is only 3,000 pounds. Maybe 2,500 to 3,500 pounds. That's about how much a Ferrari is. So you are not driving a 12,000 pound Ferrari. I'm being facetious is what I'm doing here. I know the difference. However, having said that, the fact that you cannot be cordial to other human beings is an issue. But you should never expect that I'm going to succumb or give in to that at any point. I wouldn't do it if you're standing behind me at the Dollar General. I'm certainly not going to do it because you're behind me in traffic. So that has been my number one problem, because as dangerous as a Nissan Altima is to the general public, or as a Mustang is to anybody on a sidewalk, the overt, open, and just plain hostility that is displayed, maybe it's not what's in your head, but it's what you're displaying to the public in the Lifted Truck Brothers. That's got to stop. We love you. You're part of the custom car community, or at least you should be. But you have to understand that we're humans too. I'm at work. This guy's going to his job. This guy just got off of his job. This lady's going to work at B-Dubs. This one's going to work. She has to fight every day at work at the Waffle House, but now she's got you a foot off of her bumper. You know what I mean? That's probably been the biggest problem being back into motorcycles and it's generally because of where I live, but the actual attitude is in nearly every driver in the country. Every video you see is, oh man, drivers here suck. Drivers in Albuquerque suck. Drivers in Baltimore suck. Drivers in LA suck. Drivers in Miami suck. Drivers in Maine suck. No, this is a cognitive issue with our species. Has nothing to do with where you live. We have, and here's the long and short of it, we have enlisted, at least in men, that your entire personality is personified in what you drive and what you own. So men in my lifetime have gone from being about it to looking like they're about it. It's kind of like that thing with modern video games where you can buy a skin and look scary in the video game. You can put a Punisher sticker on your car, truck, or motorcycle, and then all of a sudden you're the Punisher. No, it's not how that works. You were who you were before you got here. I know my lane. I try to stay in it. So why all of a sudden does something you own dictate what lane you're in? And when I see the boss's car, I know, hey boss, how you doing? Nice to see you again. How's the missus? The kids doing all right? Good. Glad to hear it. Nice to see you again. That's my lane. But somehow, with drivers in the United States, everything is move, get out of my way. And that's sad. That's sad. Because number one, you're blaming someone else for you being broke when you're aggressive driving, hard braking to every stoplight, killing your pads, hard accelerating at every green, killing your fuel economy, is making you broke, but somehow it's a politician's responsibility why you're broke. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. What do I know? But this is my first year on a motorcycle. What else did I do? One of the hardest things to do in my first year back on motorcycle was learning to go slow. I never went slow on a motorcycle, and that is outrageously foreign to me. Outrageously foreign to me. The first time I heard the word friction zone was in 2023, when I finally decided it's either going to be a Miata or a motorcycle. And then I saw this video for a friction zone. What the heck is a friction zone? And it works. It 100% works. It has improved my motorcycling by, like, this is my motorcycle. This is where I was from 87 to 97. And then this is where I was 2024 and on. That's how good the friction zone is. I was not prepared to go slow in traffic commuting. I had never commuted before. I had never gone slow before. It is a challenge that I was not prepared to do. But now I've had some time to practice. I'm learning, getting better at it. DoorDash is helping me get infinitely better at it, because when I get to the house and the drinks are not spilled and it's not from Starbucks or McDonald's, then I did my job. I friction zoned it out. And I made it to the house without the drink. If you've ever watched Initial D, you know what I'm talking about. Great show. I should watch that again. I want that on VHS. That's got to be on VHS somewhere. Initial D. What else was the friction zone? Man, changed my riding. Did you know that there is a brake pedal on the right side of the bike? I had no clue. I'd never used it. I'm kidding. I had no clue and no idea that there was a brake pedal down there, and then you press it down, the bike gently comes to a stop. Who knew? My main trick when I was racing was in a corner, I would bang the front brake, bring the front back tire off the ground, and go around the corner like that. That was one of my tricks. I had no idea how dangerous it was. I was 16, 17, 18 years old. I was a child. I was dumb. And I was riding a Yamaha YSR 50, which is probably all of 150 pounds. Don't try that on a 600-pound motorcycle. It's ill-advised. I saw it done in MotoGP and World Superbike. Kevin Schwantz, Wayne Rainey, all those guys. They did it. And then I started doing it. But be that as it may, friction zone saved my butt. It probably would have saved me a lot in the past. But I'm learning. I'm making a few mistakes, but I'm getting there. And let's see here. What's the next thing? The next topic. Where's my scroller? What is this? I'm very tired. It's not like comparing something. Oh yeah. Tires. This is a quick one. Street tires are BS. There's no compounds available. You buy what's on the shelf at Cycle Gear, just like me. And that's it. That's what you get. You don't get compounds. You don't get tread grooves. You don't get custom anything. Arguing street tires and is ridiculous. Almost as ridiculous as running track tires on the street when you have an actual track in your town. which blows my mind away, that there are so many people here with so many great bikes, and none of you go to the track. It's only the SMRI guys, and they only have like 20 guys in the whole thing. Why? And Arroyo Seco, why are we not all at the track every day? It was the second thing I did when I came to New Mexico. I went out to the track in November, closed as closed could be. I just wanted to see it. You guys in there? You guys doing anything today? That's how desperate I was to see a racetrack up close. I was that blown away by having a track in my town. That was the second thing. First thing I did, I went up to the mountain, went to the top of the Sandia Crest when I found out that there was a road on the other side. Didn't know that in the beginning. But the second I found out, whoop, took a minute because I moved here from sea level. But then as soon as I got comfortable with the altitude, because you see little black spots in front of your eyes, this is kind of creepy. And then came down from the mountain, went over to Sandia. It's like, oh, wow, they got an actual racetrack here in town. I bet you everybody's racing here all the time. Not a thing. Not a thing. The vast majority of us here race up and down the streets at 100 miles an hour, which just blows me away. You have a bike that's built for corners, but you don't do anything but go in a straight line. If I ever get the itch to race again, which every day gets a little bit itchier. Anyways, another challenge of my first year of motorcycling, bifocals. I cannot, when I turned 40, the day I turned 42, I couldn't see the speedometer on my car anymore. I just click one day, it just clicked over and I couldn't see this. What is wrong with that? Is the light off or something? And I just had regular glasses. And then last year I got bifocals and they don't help for jack. I still can't see the speedometer. I don't know if I'm doing 45 or 450. I have no idea. Bifocals so far are crap. Absolute crap. It's not necessary for anybody who knows. Oh, riding at night. Riding at night. I didn't know that. See, riding at night in New Mexico is different. You guys don't have any lights. Not in Albuquerque, nowhere. You have a couple street lights. And if you've ever ridden through New York, if you've ever ridden through North Jersey, you know, it's lit up. It's almost like daytime. So there's almost no lights here, which is good. It's healthier not to have all that light. But riding in the dark and keeping my line on the same exact road that I ride every day is a challenge. I ride that road every day. And when that sun goes down, I'm lost. I have no idea what to do. I'm kind of back and forth in the lane, trying to figure out where I am. I'm sure somebody's behind me like, this guy is drunk. And I'm trying to figure out where I am. I hate riding in the dark. I did do it once. I just nailed it and went for it. But then, I kind of think back to my ambulance days. Guy hit a cow at 90 miles an hour. He hit a cow. His speedometer stuck at 90, and he hit a cow, and every time the sun goes down, cows. And you guys got cows here, and they get out. I had a loose cow yesterday. Here. Somehow they jumped the barbed wire fence, and then they jumped back. So he knew what to do, but scary thought. Driving at night. And here's everybody about sound back in the saddle. The sound of the reader. Oh yeah. That is probably the best part, is I'm still a beginner. I'm gonna stay a beginner as long as I possibly can. I think being an expert kind of ruins it. Being a beginner and always learning is pretty great. And on that note, being coming back to motorcycling over 50, there was, like, I started out as a bicycle messenger, like I was Gen X, so it was all bicycles anyways. But then when I turned 14, 15, when I turned 13, it was the first time I went to New York and rode my bike in the city. And I was hooked. And then things changed at home and I left. And I went to New York when I was like 14 and I slept at Madison Square Garden for a year. I got my first apartment, and in between meantime, I was just riding bikes in New York all day long. So I've been on two wheels my whole life. And then I met my first wife, motorcycle. And then I got rid of the bike when my oldest son was like 6 or 7, 97, 98, somewhere. It was pre-Matrix. And then to drive a car from 1997 to 2024, I didn't notice the cage-itis. I never liked being in a car. Kind of at the track. At the track, it wasn't so bad. But in traffic, I never liked being in a car. I can't hear. I can't see. I never liked that idea because of the way I grew up. I didn't grow up in a box. I grew up on a bicycle. I grew up on a motorcycle. So for me to go to a car and slowly get boiled to death. Oh, I got to take the chicken out. Don't forget to take chicken out when this video's over. And slowly get boiled to death in that car. Just my brain just slowly getting boiled into boredom in that car. I gotta say that the last 3 months of riding a motorcycle, I've gotten more comfortable. So now my brain is kind of shifted over into daydreaming. And, you know, I'm not thinking about stuff. I'm not constantly thinking about corner entrance and exit. I've gotten more comfortable with the size of the bike and the size of the motor and things like that. So I'm not constantly being bombarded in the head with stuff I don't know. I'm getting more comfortable with the idea. And with that comfort comes, I can start to focus on other stuff, what other people are doing in their cars, the traffic light, the surface on the road, stuff like that. And when everything's copacetic, I can just kind of zone out. And it's weird how, it's a thing called neuroplasticity. And it's weird how I never felt it go away, but I felt it come back. My brain feels better. I sleep better. I think better. I have more capacity and more control. Something is wrong with driving a car. Ideally, in a perfect world, and this is just a guess, if English capitalism had never been the predominant system for us to survive in, we probably would have been riding horses. There probably would have been so many horses everywhere that don't need any bodywork or gasoline, that you just get on a horse and go where you got to go. I know it's tough to imagine a different society setup than the capitalism that we currently live with. But think for a second abstractly. Had England not taken over the world and spread democracy to every country, we would have likely been just riding horses. So many horses, in fact, that you just get on a horse, go to the Dollar General, and then the horse just wanders off. And then you just grab another horse when you're done shopping and you go home. And you just let the horse go. Had things gone naturally. But we've chose unnatural. What are you going to do? And riding a horse all day would have left you in touch with the world and the planet. And I think that's what motorcycling does. It leaves you somewhat in touch with the world, the planet, and the environment around you. The temperature going up and down, the road changes, the smells, the bugs hitting you in the face all the time. even that is a connection with nature, and we're natural things. So the idea that we're supposed to be in this box makes no sense. The motorcycle makes the most sense of any mode of transportation outside of horses. So a first year back on a motorcycle gave me back my brain. And I think that people who ride today, this modern generation who are riding, who are just getting into motorcycling now, or who've been riding for 10 years, I think they're like the last human beings, because they're not tied into that system like everybody else is, where you have to go out and make a $3,000 payment every month on a car. And yeah, it's about $3,000. It may say $700, but you're losing about $3,000 a month on that car. And you're not tied to that. You're not tied to, oh man, I got to make a U-turn. You ever make a U-turn on a motorcycle? It's the best. You ever make a U-turn in a car? It gets challenging. Parking. I'm not concerned with parking. You're not concerned with parking. You just stop and get off. You stop, put your kickstand down, and walk inside. People love you because you're riding a motorcycle. I'm shy about it. I'm real shy about it. But for the most part, people treat you different because you're on a motorcycle. I kind of look like an adventure rider when I got my work gear on. Lady asked me today, what country, what state are you coming from? I was like, oh, I'm sorry, disappoint you. I'm just at work doing DoorDash. I'm not really that kind of motorcyclist. Oh, okay. Nice to meet you though. And people treat you different. When you're in a car, people hate you. When you're on a motorcycle, people wish they were you. And there is a catharsis in that we take for granted, that we need to really pay attention to, that we are getting to keep the last little bit of the human brain. That's the human brain. Because at this point, it's all about working. I mean, my generation, Gen X, was the last generation to go out and have fun. Maybe the millennials were the last generations to go out and actually have fun. You don't get to have fun. You get to go to work. You get to pay for that apartment or that house or all your stuff, all the stuff in the garage, the lifted truck, the jet ski, the side-by-side, the gym equipment you never use, the bicycle the road bike you never ride, the gravel bike you never ride. But motorcyclists, we still have that connection with humanity that a lot of people don't. And I think I see it because I didn't have it for a little while. And now my brain feels normal again. I don't know how to explain it, but my brain feels normal now. And I didn't even know that I wasn't me for a little bit. And motorcycling gave that back to me.